अंत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, welcome to our second session of Bhakti Shastri. As such, this is first only because last time we had this introduction of all the devotees and some discussion of how we will go. So today we will be starting with the auspicious occasion of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Sai Thakur's special occasion of Disappearance Day. We'll be starting with this course. So let's pray to all the acharyas, Bhaktivedanta Thakur, and to shower their causeless mercy upon us that we can approach the study of Bhagavad Gita in a right mood. So today, yes, in the last class, we discussed about setting the scene. So if you see technically in every book, there are like some of you might have read some novels like Harry Potter or some different books which we read. So there are different sections which are there in every book. So sometimes there is prologue, there is foreword, there is preface, there is dedication, there is introduction, and so like this different sections are there. So if the word prologue, you might have read sometimes in some books prologue comes, prologue. So what is the meaning of word prologue? The prologue means generally prologue is written in the novels or a storybook, fiction books. This is just to give some initial idea about what is there in the book before only setting the scene. So Srila Prabhupada has written here setting the scene. And so setting the scene is actually written by Srila Prabhupada and also his disciples. There is also preface here and there is also the dedication here. If you see the thankless task of Srila Prabhupada, when he went to America, all of us are quite aware of Mahabharata and Gita, and we might have heard even before coming to ISKCON. But this is just like a Srila Prabhupada has to present Bhagavad Gita to the audience who doesn't know anything about Krishna. Such a tedious task, na? People don't know anything about Krishna. They have never heard about Mahabharata. And can you imagine? Suddenly, a holy book is starting with a war. The war means there is no mention description given. Why war? What war? Between whom war? And suddenly the war is starting in Gita. So if Western audience has to take this, it is going to be very difficult. So Srila Prabhupada has disciples have written setting the scene, and in the preface also there is a little hint given about what is two parties. There is a family fight going on between the Kauravas and Pandavas, and that all initial description was given. So we tried to see little bit of Mahabharata in a story form in last class. So if you see now there is a there is a mention of preface, and then there comes a introduction. So last time we read about setting the scene. Setting the scene was written, and this is dedicated to Baladev Vidyabhushan. So Baladev Vidyabhushan has written a Govinda Bhashya commentary on Vedanta Sutra. So we know there are the spiritual master of Baladev Vidyabhushan was Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has also written two commentaries. One is called as Sarartha Varshini and one is called as Sarartha Darshini. Sarartha Varshini is his commentary on Bhagavad Gita, and Sarartha Darshini is a commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. Now somebody may question, if his guru has already written a commentary, then why do a disciple also has to write? Like we know in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's case, somebody said ki Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like he never wrote commentary. Like he said already, Sridhar Swami is there. So he said no. But here we know the commentaries which are given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who is a great acharya, are very esoteric commentaries. So all the special leelas when you hear in Srimad Bhagavatam, very esoteric meanings, commentaries on a very high platform. They are Rasik commentaries. They are by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And Baldev Vidyabhushan, that time entire Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara was in a shackles. He had to establish the foundation of Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. So he presented this Govinda Bhashya, Vedanta Sutra commentary, and others. Gita Bhushan. Gita Bhushan is a commentary written by Baldev Vidyabhushan. So now Srila Prabhupada in year 1971, he gave a lecture in Australia, in Sydney. And that time, Srila Prabhupada wrote this preface. So preface was actually written much after entire book was ready. Srila Prabhupada's book was ready in 1965 itself. But preface was written at the last. Generally, preface was written at the last. It was additionally added. So if you know originally the history of Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada had published Bhagavad Gita before also. But you know, two times, one time the Mataji, his wife, did a transcendental Leela, and the entire Bhagavad Gita was sold for a tea biscuits. सोचो कितना मेहनत ना प्रभु, भगवत गीता पूरा लिखा गया और उसको चाय के बिस्किट्स के लिए माताजी ने बेच दिया. श्रील प्रभुपाद ने उसके बाद फिर से लिखा. And that time he did not publish it. That time he first wrote three volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam, and then he went to America. So when he went to America after this, Srila Prabhupada was very, very confident. He felt amazing. The great task is done. I am loaded with my bullet guns now. I have my loaded ammunition to fight with Maya. Srila Prabhupada went to America. But what had happened was, India, Srila Bhagavatam was published in India and it was taken to America. But generally, when you go to America, and Srila Prabhupada was not something like a very famous personality in America that time. And even all his disciples, they were coming from a not so materially accomplished background. They were coming from hippies culture. So although they were very greatly devotional, they had surrender for Prabhupada, faith for Prabhupada, but they were not very materially accomplished. And especially Srila Prabhupada to preach in America, it requires some credibility. Like Srimad Bhagavatam, okay, which book from India this is? No. So Srila Prabhupada wanted to publish Bhagavad Gita also. Because once what happened in year 1970, one lady disciple, one lady girl asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, can you recommend me some version of Bhagavad Gita? Which Bhagavad Gita should I read? Srila Prabhupada said, unfortunately speaking, there is nothing bona fide in the world available. There is no book which is bona fide on Gita which is available. Srila Prabhupada had to say this. So Srila Prabhupada said, I have my own bona fide version, that is Bhagavad Gita as it is. But problem is it is not published till now. It is not available. So Srila Prabhupada said that now it is important that we present Bhagavad Gita as it is. Why as it is? Srila Prabhupada wrote as it is. So it is said when a prescription is given by doctor, like let's say a doctor gives some prescription. Okay, you should not take you should take this. Some of you might have gone to Ayurvedic doctors, no? How many of you been to Ayurvedic doctors before? So, okay, some of you have been to Ayurvedic doctors. And especially Ayurvedic doctor medicines are very difficult to follow, right ना? ओ सो पथ्य होता है उनका. इतने बजे पान एक होता है. एक मेडिसिन खाने के पहले लेने का, एक मेडिसिन खाने के बाद में लेने का, कुछ कुछ मेडिसिन खाने के बीच में लेने का. इतना कॉम्प्लिकेशन होता है. ये पानी के साथ लेने का, ये हनी के साथ लेने का, और ये दूध के साथ लेने का, ये घी के साथ लेने का. बिकम्स टू मच फॉर स्पेशली दैट्स वाई एलोपैथिक डॉक्टर का कुछ ही होता है, जब चाहना है तब लेने का, कोई टेंशन नहीं लेने का, जब जो खाना है खाओ. सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन भी करो, मेडिसिन भी खाओ. No problem. That is allopathic. So especially if you see in Ayurvedic medicine, there's a prescription given. But sometimes what do people do? Like suppose a prescription is given by doctor. Take this medicine in the morning time. Isn't it a clear prescription? Clear है ना? ये medicine आपको सुबह उठे बराबर लेना है. Morning में लेना है. लेकिन some people what they do is, some people screw out the meaning. अरे actually morning क्या होता है? There is nothing called as morning. अमेरिका में मॉर्निंग अलग बजे होता है. अभी मॉर्निंग अमेरिका में रात हुई है. अभी ऑस्ट्रेलिया में कुछ अलग टाइम हुआ है. तो बेसिकली इट्स नॉट अबाउट यू कैन टेक इन इवनिंग ऑल्सो. अगर मैं इस प्रकार का कंक्लूजन ला रहा हूँ डॉक्टर के प्रिस्क्रिप्शन का, तो ये तो खिलवाड़ हुई है भगवद गीता के साथ. और सपोज डॉक्टर ने बोला डोंट टेक शुगर, तो अगर डॉक्टर एक्चुअल में अगर कोई इसका मीनिंग निकाले, सी जनरली शुगर जो होती है वाइट कलर की होती है, तो शुगर वाइट कलर का कोई भी सब्सटेंस लेना अवॉइड करना चाहिए. लेकिन अगर ब्राउन शुगर ले रहे हो तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. अभी दिस इज लाइक अ स्क्रीविंग आउट सम मीनिंग फ्रॉम भगवद गीता or screaming out some meaning of doctor's prescription and bringing about your own conclusion. तो इसी प्रकार का खिलवाड़ जो है भगवत गीता के साथ हुआ था. This is the kind of manipulation was done. And that's why Prabhupada was saying that there is no version which is bona fide version of Bhagavad Gita available. And then that time, Srila Prabhupada decided that I want to publish this Bhagavad Gita as it is. Now, what happens is in America, that time, you know the story. Some of you might have read Leelamrit. So, you know the story, the beautiful story. So, once Srila Prabhupada decided that I want to publish. And suddenly, one day, a letter comes from Macmillan Company. Some person wrote a letter to one of the Brahmanand Prabhu, and devotees were very excited. Hurry bol! Letter from Macmillan Company has come, and they want a copy of Bhagavad Gita. And devotees were very excited. And devotees go there, and later they come to know it was not a letter from Macmillan Company. It was a letter from a clerk of a Macmillan Company. He wants a personal copy of Bhagavad Gita. He did not say that they want to publish Gita. They just want a personal copy of Bhagavad Gita. And then that time the devotees went there and devotees thought, oh, प्रभुपाद को क्या बताएंगे. प्रभुपाद भी एक्साइटेड हो गए कि मैकमिलन को मेरा भगवद गीता चाहिए करके. बाद में वो क्लर्क को पर्सनल कॉपी चाहिए था. And suddenly what happened, because devotees were so surrendered to Prabhupada, then what happens, this Brahman Prabhu goes to the clerk, and suddenly क्लर्क को क्या हुआ, क्लर्क कोई तो व्यक्ति आया और क्लर्क जो है वो थोड़ा सा बहुत रिस्पेक्टफुल हो गया, बहुत एकदम रेवरेंस में आ गया. And then that time they got to know he is the top man of Macmillan Company who has come. And that top person asked, oh, are you following some spiritual path? Yeah, he said, yes. Are you from India? So he said, no, I'm from America. He said, do you follow some Indian religion? He said, yes, my Swamiji is from Hindustan, India. He said, actually, do you have any scriptures on Indian version? Actually, we are publishing different books on Vedic. We have Bible, we have Quran. We want some philosophical book from India. Do you have anything? He said, yes, we have complete version of Bhagavad Gita. And then they were said amazing. So he said they showed him the entire book. And in generally, when a book has to be published, it has to be scrutinizingly reviewed by the publisher. But because they were in hurry, they had a deadline to cross. They said, okay, give whatever you have, give it. So just give it, we'll publish it. And then that time, but they said, your book is too big, too big. He said, we have a limit of publishing a book. We have only limit of 500 pages. Nothing more than 500 pages we can publish. 400 pages, I guess. Nothing more than this. So tell your Swamiji to reduce the size of Bhagavad Gita. Then Haiguru Prabhu had a very tough task to remove something which is not unnecessary purports. My God, कितना बड़ा offense है नहीं है. He said unnecessary purport को remove करो, जो unnecessary words और paragraphs है. इनको इतना बेचारा प्रभुपाद को भी बुरा लग रहा था और इनको भी बुरा लग रहा था, लेकिन बेचारे उनको करना पड़ा ऐसा काम. पर उन्होंने वर्ड फॉर वर्ड मीनिंग हटा दिया, कुछ purports भी हटा दिए मैकमिलन वर्जन से. But Srila Prabhupada anyway accepted it. So then the version of Bhagavad Gita was published, Bhagavad Gita as it is, Bhagavad Gita Macmillan, and this gave a very big credibility for Prabhupada in preaching in Western world, because Macmillan was a very authorized. Now also Macmillan is one of the reputed publishers. But later, after many years, Srila Prabhupada understood that, oh, this is not the proper. We are not able to give the good substance to everyone. And then Srila Prabhupada decided that we should have our own publishing house. We should have ISKCON Press. That time Srila Prabhupada established ISKCON Press, and now which is called as Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. And Srila Prabhupada said there will be no cut short in entire Bhagavad Gita. An entire version of Bhagavad Gita will be given. So today, what you are going to read now will not be able to go through the complete. Again, unfortunately, I'll have to little cut short because we have limit of lectures. So what I'll be doing is giving a summary of introduction and preface only. But I request all of you not to cut short. As a personal homework, please go through preface, introduction, and you can have your own copy of Gita, underline it, and systematically read it. But I'll try to highlight some sections, bullet points, and something in between for this. So this is the in preface. Preface is like a lecture given by Srila Prabhupada in 1971. where exactly he spoke about these things only, what I mentioned, that how Srila Prabhupada had to cut short the purports, but now he's again giving uh, the full version of Bhagavad Gita. And you see, generally preface is also written by author to give his gratitude to Parampara. So Srila Prabhupada is passing the credit to Parampara. He said, actually, I do not have any credit in writing Bhagavad Gita. Everything is because of my Guru Maharaj. Only qualification which I had is I'm trying to present Bhagavad Gita as it is without any adulteration. Srila Prabhupada writes there. And so he said, our mission is very clear. That is to present the will of Krishna. So generally the will of Krishna is that man mana bhavamat bhakto. Krishna says, surrender unto me. And we don't want to screw out any other meaning of Bhagavad Gita. So if you see, Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is the only Bhagavad Gita in the English edition, especially, which is the most widely distributed, most widely read, and the greatest transformation which has been brought about. And this is mainly because it is presented as it is, without screaming out any meaning. Now, so this was about the preface. Now we'll try to discuss something from introduction. So what I will do, Prabhu, is I'll share the screen also. Again, we'll not read the entire introduction, but certain bullet points wherever we feel, I'll request someone to read from you. So this is the introduction to Bhagavad Gita. So in case you have your personal copy of Gita with you right now, so generally it is good practice that when you're sitting for the class, you can have your personal copy, pen, marker, or whatever underliner, so that you can make notes on Gita itself, or you wish to make on notebook. That is also perfect. Online, preferably, I have to use online because I have to share and all. But generally, hard copy version will be very good. So prayers to Guru Parampara. So Srila Prabhupada begins his entire introduction with prayers to Parampara. So, and if you see this beautiful introduction, this is like a genius of Prabhupada. That entire Gita has been concisely put into introduction only. Srila Prabhupada knows somebody may not go in the future. He may not read first chapter, second chapter. He will be lazy fellow. He said, if even if he reads only introduction, then his life is perfect. So Srila Prabhupada writes down his introduction by remembering his Guru Maharaj. So this is general etiquette. Whenever we start any work, we should offer a prayers to a Guru Parampara to seek for an empowerment. Because by only getting their grace, we become empowered to do any spiritual. So that's why we should not Om Ajnanati Mirandasya. So this entire prayer is offering, and he's giving his gratitude to his Guru Maharaj, he's giving his gratitude to Rupa Goswami and all the previous acharyas here. And now, amazing thing, in America, people don't know Krishna only. But Srila Prabhupada, this is the only place in Bhagavad Gita where Srila Prabhupada is referring to Lalita, Vishakha, and Radharani. In other words, indirectly, it will be there in Gita, little bits and places here and there. But this is the only place in entire Bhagavad Gita where Radharani is being referred, because this is much more secret and confidential things. And this is reserved for Chaitanya Charitamrita, postgraduate study. So this is the only place. So Krishna is referring to Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari. He's remembering the Radharani, and he's remembering all Vaishnavas. So like this. So Srila Prabhupada then starts a description of what is Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is also known as Gita Upanishad. Now somebody may think, what is Upanishad? So Upanishads are, there is something called as Vedas and there is something called as Upanishads. So Upanishads means what? They are the headlines of Vedas. Headlines, like we have chapters in Vedas, like different chapters are there in Vedas in our syllabus. So headlines like this chapter or this, they are called as Upanishads. So Prabhupada is again saying that there is no version which is available. And what is the spirit of Bhagavad Gita? In the second paragraph, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning the spirit of Bhagavad Gita. The spirit of Bhagavad Gita is we have to take the medicine according to the prescriptions which are given. We should not take So similarly, Bhagavad Gita should be read in the mood of devotion and not in other mood. And in the mood of parampara, like different acharyas, one should try to read Bhagavad Gita. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that Bhagavad Gita is a very original science. It was spoken to the sun god before, and it is getting passing down from in parampara. And now this knowledge is being spoken to Arjuna. Why? This knowledge is being spoken to Arjuna because he's a qualified recipient of Bhagavad Gita. Similarly, for us to become qualified to receive Bhagavad Gita, what is the secret? The secret is we have to become the devotee of Lord. We have to read his Bhagavad Gita in the mood of devotee and friend. Now, it is a very amazing understanding that how can somebody become friend? Because if you see in the Christian world or in the Abrahamic world, there is nothing called as friend of Lord. Like there is only called as son of Lord. If you see in the Abrahamic religion, in Christianity, what they call Lord as, oh Lord, who is my father. So they only know father. There is no other relationship apart from father and son in any other religion. Then there is, if you see in Christian, in Muslim also, they even don't have father. They say Allahu Akbar. Akbar. Akbar means what? Someone who is greatest. That is called as Akbar. And Allah is the only greatest, and there is no one else. So there is no kind of rasa. And now Srila Prabhupada has to present Gita to the Western world, and there Arjuna is called as friend of God. So now this is something very surprising. How can somebody be a friend of God? There is only a father. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the introduction here, no, someone can become friend of God. Somebody can become even mother, father of God. Somebody can even become child of God. Somebody can become even lover of God. So this is being given in the introduction. तो सोचो प्रभुपाद के लिए क्या खतरनाक टास्क रहा होगा ना प्रभु. मतलब पूरे दुनिया को, जिस पूरा दुनिया का अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऊपर नीचे करना है एकदम खतरनाक. तो श्रील प्रभुपाद इंट्रोडक्शन में इस प्रकार से दे रहे हैं. तो इसलिए प्रभुपाद ने यहाँ पे इंट्रोडक्शन में लिखा है कि 5 काइंड्स ऑफ रसा. श्रील प्रभुपाद ने 5 काइंड्स ऑफ रसा दे दिए इसमें. कौन से? ओके, आई विल आस्क यू, यू हैव टू आंसर. एनीवन कैन अनम्यूट एंड आंसर. व्हाट इज द रसा इन द पैसिव स्टेट कॉल्ड इन संस्कृत? पैसिव स्टेट संस्कृत में क्या वर्ड है इसके लिए?
शांत रस.
ओके, शांति रस. नेक्स्ट एक्टिव स्टेट
दास्य
दास्य रस. फ्रेंड रस
साख्य रस.
साख्य रस. पेरेंट रस
वात्सल्य रस.
वात्सल्य रस. And then conjugal lover,
माधुर्य.
so yeah, conjugal actually, madhurya is also right word. This is called as shringara rasa and or madhurya rasa. So in Golok Dham, everything is madhurya only. Even dasya is madhurya, friend is madhurya, vatsalya is madhurya. Everything is madhurya because Golok itself is called as madhurya dham. But in Madhurya also, somebody is called as a lover, like a loving lover is there, like a boy girl. That is called as Shringara Rasa or Madhurya Rasa. Hmm? So now Prabhupada is telling, but don't think that the friendship of this material world and friendship of spiritual world are same. Don't think like that. The friendship of Arjuna was a very special one. It was not a mundane friendship. It was transcendental friendship. In mundane friendship, one is only trying to exploit the friend. We are just trying to exploit each other in mundane relationship. But in transcendental friendship, there is a desire to serve. That is called as transcendental friendship. And now Srila Prabhupada is taking time to explain something called as Swarupa. Swarupa, okay, I can be friend with Lord, but currently I'm not the friend with Lord. Then Srila Prabhupada has to explain there is something called as Swarupa. You have your original Swarupa. And by bhakti, you can get back that Swarupa. That is called as Swarupa Siddhi. An amazing thing. Srila Prabhupada had to explain something about conditioned soul. Now, can somebody explain what is meaning of conditioned soul? ये word पहले I think कोई version of गीता में या नहीं आया spiritual book में. Conditioned soul क्या होता है? Exactly conditioned soul का मतलब क्या होता है? कोई बता पाएगा? ये word आपने सुना है? Conditioned soul का मतलब क्या होता है?
Getting influenced by our surroundings, by our upbringing, by our parents, getting influence, some sort of material influence.
Okay, very good. Thank you. You can rename yourself. Otherwise, no attendance marking will become difficult for them. 1+ will
Oh,
get attendance.
oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Prabhu. Anyone would like to try? What is winning of?
When one
Yeah,
comes under the three modes of material nature, then he is termed as conditioned soul.
Sorry, can you please repeat, Kaushik, Prabhu?
When one comes under the modes of under three modes of material nature, then he is referred to as conditioned soul because he is conditioned by three modes.
Okay, this is also good understanding. Okay.
yeah, one whose knowledge is covered with
को बोलते
ignorance.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, one whose knowledge is covered with ignorance.
Okay. Yeah. Correct. Yes, Swapnil, Prabhu.
One who forget the relationship with the Lord and come to material world and think that this belongs to me.
Perfect. So all are correct, Prabhu. There is nothing means perfect. In spiritual life, almost everyone is 100 out of 100 only. So in conditioned soul means also in material world, generally all happiness are subjected to conditions. Like uh like now in winter season, some of you are wearing sweaters, and some of you are even wearing mufflers, and some of you are wearing even shawls. So this is very pleasurable, na? Like if sweater is not there, will not be in pleasure. It is not going to. But just imagine, like suppose our Megraj Prabhu is wearing winter cap, and Megraj Prabhu, if it is a hot summer season right now, will the same winter cap and sweater will give us some pleasure? No, this will become the source of misery. So similarly, conditioned soul means in material world, the happiness is subjected to so many conditions. If only this criteria is being fulfilled, then I'll get happiness. If only these things are being done, then I'll get happiness. Conditioned soul. So soul is conditioned. Soul cannot experience happiness in material world because of so many conditions. Like today's fasting. So fasting till noon. So prasadam, even if prasadam is brought, it is not going to give happiness. Means okay, at 12 o'clock afternoon it will give a lot of happiness. So many conditions are there in material world. Like this is the wrong example. This is spiritual because fasting is spiritual. But I am saying so many conditions being put up in which we can under which only if these conditions are fulfilled, then only a soul can enjoy. That is conditioned soul. And another definition which all of you also mentioned, that is also perfect. Like we have air conditioned. You heard this word air conditioned. Air conditioned means he's conditioned to live in some particular environment. Similarly, conditioned soul. So conditioned soul means he's conditioned now that he's conditioned to think that I am this body. He's conditioned to think that I am born in such family. I'm pig. I'm dog. I'm cat. That is his condition. So here again in the introduction now. So what is the conclusion? Which one? So initially Srila Prabhupada began introduction with what is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita? Who is the right candidate to receive Bhagavad Gita? What is the spirit of Bhagavad Gita? And what is the conclusion which one should read after hearing Gita? So he said, after hearing Gita, one should come to conclusion that Krishna is Param Brahma and he is Param Dhama, he is Pavitram, Purusham, Sashvatam Divyam. So he said, this is the conclusion received by all the great acharyas in the past. And the same conclusion we should come after reading Gita. So that's why Bhagavad Gita should be taken in the spirit of devotion. One should never think that he can become Krishna or he can become greater than Krishna. So actually, I remember recently I was in book distribution in Karnataka, and when we were giving the Gita, sometimes there appeared to be like I was distributing Gita. So one of the person I got one big rich man, gold merchant. So I just he came to our place. So I requested him, okay, can you please sponsor some Bhagavad Gita? And unfortunately, I just requested him and he agreed. Okay, I can donate 200 Bhagavad Gitas. So I said, amazing. I just put a request only, and he agreed. And I said, you only find out which school you want to give. You only arrange principal. You only take permission. You only announce, and you only distribute. And he agreed that also. So he distributed 200 Gita, and I had to accompany and just give a lecture to him. And he showed that I am also great devotee of Lord. I am also this. I also read Gita, and we had to hear all these things and all. And some two three people also came, and they boasted themselves to be like a big scholars in Gita and all. And later they said आपके मंदिर आपके इस्कॉन में एक डिवोटी है, क्या नाम है उनका, वो अमुक लीला प्रभु बोले। वो बोले हमेशा कंट्रोवर्सी में फंस जाते हैं बोले। बोला क्यों भाई, क्या होता है, कुछ तो कंट्रोवर्सी में फंस जाते हैं। बोला क्यों, बोले माना आपके इस्कॉन वाले कृष्णा 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 करते हैं, लेकिन कृष्णा को ऊपर दिखाने के लिए दूसरों को नीचा क्यों दिखाते हो। बोला ऐसा क्यों। बोले सब मानो यार, सब लोग राम है, शिव है, गणपति है, सभी लोग एक ही तो है। हम तो ये मानते हैं गणपति शिव इंद्रा जो भी है हम सब अल्टीमेटली भगवान ही है वो। तुम लोग इस्कॉन वाले हमेशा कृष्ण को ऊपर दिखाते हो और दूसरों को नीचे दिखाते हो, इसलिए फंस जाते हो कंट्रोवर्सी में। बोला माय गॉड, बड़े बड़े स्कॉलर्स आ रहे हैं बात कर रहे हैं एंड दे आर टेलिंग दैट वी आर वेरी बिग स्कॉलर्स, संस्कृत पीएचडी किया है, ये किया है। But you see, people they don't come to the right conclusion. So, or sometimes some people said actually जो शिव है वही ब्रह्म है, जो ब्रह्म है वही शिव है। आप देखो मैक्सिमम 99% ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, स्पिरिचुअल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में अगर आप जाओगे और थोड़ा सा खुजली करोगे ना उनके बैक पे, मतलब थोड़ा सा डीप में जाओगे, थोड़ा सा खुजला उनको ऐसा ऐसा ऐसा, जाके देखोगे अंदर यही फिलोसफी बाहर निकलने वाला है कि अल्टीमेटली हम भी कृष्णा ही है। Like there is one, I'll not mention the name, there is one very very famous organization for becoming famous now, और उनका अंडरस्टैंडिंग कुछ भी है अलग ही एकदम, कोई बेसिस ही नहीं है फिलोसफी का, कोई फिलोसॉफिकल बेसिस नहीं है, कुछ तो खिचड़ी बना के रखी है खुद से, बहुत फेमस हो गया अभी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, पूरा खिचड़ी है। वो बोलते हैं कि कलयुग जो है 10 साल में खत्म होने वाला है। अभी कलयुग जो है 10 साल, और ऑलरेडी सतयुग चालू हो गया है। और बहुत है, यूट्यूब पे आप देखोगे थोड़ा सर्च मार के, बहुत वाइट प्रोपोगेंडा चल रहा है इनका। 10 साल में कलयुग खत्म होने वाला है, वाइट प्रोपोगेंडा चल रहा है, सतयुग फिर से शुरू हो जाएगा। कृष्णा, अभी कृष्णा को लिबरेशन मिला नहीं है, अभी कृष्ण को लिबरेशन मिलने वाला है। ऐसे खतरनाक फिलोसफीज आ गए। सो ही सेड even after reading Gita they come to such conclusion. So he said we should come to the right conclusion, that it should be taken in a spirit of Bhagavad devotion, and we should not conclude wrong after reading this Gita. Now, Srila Prabhupada mentions about there are 5 things which are subject matters of Bhagavad Gita. Can somebody tell what are the 5 things which are subject matters of Bhagavad Gita? Anyone would like to share? The
Yes,
five.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu, you can share.
Yeah, it's a soul in super soul, then time factor, then karma, and material world, Prakriti.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Prabhuji. Can somebody say all these things in Sanskrit or Hindi, or what is the technical words for this? Yes, Sandipan Prabhu.
ईश्वर जीव काल कर्म प्रकृति।
Sorry, your voice is too less, Prabhu. You can speak a little loudly.
ईश्वर जीव काल कर्म and प्रकृति।
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Ishvara, Jiva, Kala, Prakriti, and Karma. So, Shripad will, in the introduction, he will say now that these are the 5 subjects matters of Bhagavad Gita. Now, Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, and Karma. Now, let's say I'm speaking to all of you in English language right now. Now, if you see whatever I have been speaking, somebody may say, Prabhu, at the end of this entire 6 chapters, somebody may say that, Prabhu, okay, what Kadam Kanan Das taught all of you? Then somebody may say Bhakti Shastri. Then somebody may say 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. And then somebody may say he spoke something in English. And somebody may even say that, okay, Prabhuji only spoke noun, pronoun, adjective, adverb, and predicate and object. Is this correct? What I spoke? It's correct, no? Subject, object, predicate, nouns, pronouns, and adverb and prepositions. This only I spoke. So yeah, in one way, this is correct. So if you see in grammar, this all things are there. So entire whatever you're speaking is divided into this part. So there are 2 things which are in Sanskrit language or in any scripture, there are 2 things which are done. One is called as analysis and one is called as synthesis. Analysis मतलब क्या? जैसे अगर किसी के सामने केक दिया तो हम उसको केक में डिवाइड करेंगे। केक मतलब क्या? एक मैदा है और एक शुगर है और एक आई डोंट नो केक में क्या क्या बनता है, क्या क्या डाला जाता है, कुछ बेकिंग पाउडर डाला जाता है, सबको अलग 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 करना, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज एनालिसिस। लेकिन सिंथेसिस मतलब क्या? सिंथेसिस मतलब सबको सब कुछ साथ में लाना। जैसे कि आपने कभी न्यूज रिपोर्ट देखा होगा, तो श्रील प्रभुपाद ने तो ईश्वर जीव प्रकृति काल कर्म, ये 5 विभाजन किए गए हैं। तो मतलब पूरे गीता में इन 5 चीजों पे ही डिस्कशन है, ईश्वर, जीव, काल, प्रकृति, कर्म। तो बेसिकली नाउन, प्रोनाउन, एडवर्ब, एडजेक्टिव, इन 5 टॉपिक पे डिस्कशन किया गया है। लेकिन अभी इसका सिंथेसिस करना इंपॉर्टेंट है। अगर आपको मैंने केक आज बोला प्रभु जी आज भक्तिचरण ठाकुर का फीस्ट है, और ये फीस्ट में आपको मैं आज खिलाने वाला हूँ केक, और मैंने एक बाउल में रख दिया आपके लिए मैदा, लो खाओ प्रभु, एंजॉय करो। एक गिलास में डाल दिया घी और बटर, और एक गिलास में डाल दिया, मतलब एंजॉय करो प्रभु, फीस्ट एंजॉय करो प्रभु जी। ये तो केक है, लेकिन ये एनालिटिकल फॉर्म में है, इसका थोड़ा सिंथेसाइज करके देंगे तो थोड़ा अच्छा रहेगा, तब खा पाएंगे हम। स्पेशली आजकल जो न्यूज़ रिपोर्ट आते हैं, आप लोग जिन जिन लोगों ने न्यूज़ चैनल देखा है, अगर मैंने सच सोचो, हाँ, मैंने अगर आपको अभी एक स्टेटमेंट बोला, सो टुडे इन द क्लास आई एम गोइंग टू स्पीक समथिंग अबाउट द बांग्लादेश अफेयर विच इज गोइंग ऑन, then I will tell you about a cricket thing which is going in 2020 World Cup. Then I will also tell you the some Bollywood affair which actor and actresses are having. And fourth, I will tell you about a scandal which a Prime Minister of India or some Minister of India has done. And then I will tell you something about, तो ये बोलेंगे प्रभु जी आप जो बोल रहे हो सब सही है, कुछ लिंक नहीं लग रहा है, कहाँ से कहाँ जंप मार रहे हो प्रभु जी, कभी स्कैंडल आ रहा है, कभी बॉलीवुड आ रहा है, कभी ये आ रहा है, कभी वो आ रहा है, अरे क्या हो क्या रहा है। दैट इज तो इनका एनालिटिकल तो न्यूज में देखा है ना आपने, न्यूज में भी कभी कभी आता है, ऊपर चल रहा है आज की सनसनीखेज खबर बांग्लादेश में ऐसा हुआ, और नीचे रहता है स्कोर दिखा रहता है आईपीएल का, और वहां पे एक एडवर्टाइजमेंट चलते रहता है, ये बनियान पहनी है, मतलब लक्स पहनी, अरे यार सब देखो क्या होता है, न्यूज चैनल अजीब ही होता है एकदम, मतलब पूरा तो जस्ट इंफॉर्मेशन देता है, इट इज नॉट सिंथेसाइज। So similarly, Ishvara, Jiva, Kala, Prakriti, Karma, they are like 5 analytical topics of entire Gita. But the Acharya or the Gita synthesizes it. That so today this is the synthesizing of it. So now, Shri Prabhupada in introduction, we will speak about this. These are the 5 subject matters of Bhagavad Gita. Um Now, why Arjuna was put in ignorance? Shri Prabhupada also speaks about why Bhagavad Gita was spoken. So don't think that Bhagavad Gita was spoken just for Arjun. Bhagavad Gita was spoken because it solves the problems of life of everyone. And Bhagavad Gita was spoken for everyone to attain the mission of their life. So now these are the 5 subjects of Gita: Ishwar, Jiva, Kala, Prakriti, Karma, which are being spoken here. And Sri Prabhupada is trying to explain that what is Ishvara, what is Jiva, what is Kala, an entire philosophy of Krishna consciousness. The analogy is gold. We are like a drop of water in the ocean, and we are like a minute particle of gold. This is being very nicely explained here. What is material nature? Prakriti. Prakriti is female. सोचो कितना खतरनाक होगा ना, सबको बताना है, आज भी लोगों को एक्सेप्ट नहीं होता है। लाइक मैंने रिसेंटली एक पास्ट टाइम बताया था, मैं एक जगह पर रिसेंटली गया था, मैंने एक पास्ट टाइम बताया, बरसाना का पास्ट टाइम बताया मैंने। मैंने डिवोटिस को बरसाना का पास्ट टाइम बताया कि कैसे एक बार कंस जो है वो बरसाना में आया था, और बरसाना में जाने के बाद कंस जो है वो क्या बन गया था, कंस का क्या हो गया,
गोपी।
जेंडर परिवर्तन हो गया, और जेंडर ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हो गया, और वो बन गया कमसिनी गोपी, और आगे जाके उनकी घोड़ा भी बन गया घोड़ी, और आगे जाके वो बहुत टेंशन में आ गया। तो मैं पूरा लेक्चर अच्छे से पास्ट टाइम बताया, सब कुछ अप्रिशिएट करवाया, सब कुछ बोला, सब हंसे एकदम। लास्ट में एक ड्यूटी ने क्वेश्चन पूछा, वो जी बरसाना जाने से डर लग रहा है बोले। बोला क्या हो गया, बरसाना जाने से डर क्यों लग रहा है आपको? बोले यार नहीं यार, मैं तो पुरुष हूँ, मैं भी प्रकृति में भी स्त्री बन जाऊंगा तो क्या होगा। बोला अरे कृष्णा, आपको ये पूरा समझा ही नहीं मूड अभी तक, कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस का हमारे जीवन का टॉप मोस्ट गोल है ये प्रकृति, मतलब गोपियों का जो डिवोशन है। सो ये समझाना आपको प्रभु कि आप मेल नहीं हो आप फीमेल हो। वाह गॉड कितना डेंजर है, नहीं फिलोसॉफी समझाना कि आप मेल नहीं हो आप फीमेल हो। तो इन नेचर इन मूड वी आर फीमेल्स, दैट इज प्रकृति। तो प्रभुपाद उसके बारे में भी वो सो इंट्रोडक्शन में बता रहे हैं कि दिस इज द एक्सपर्टीज ऑफ प्रभुपाद, किस तरह से समझा रहे हैं प्रभुपाद, सबको बताना कि आप मेल नहीं हो आप फीमेल हो। तो यहाँ पे प्रभुपाद बता रहे हैं हम सब लोग फीमेल है, प्रकृति है, और हम सब लोग सबॉर्डिनेट है, ये सब बता रहे हैं यहाँ पे। और आगे 3 मोड्स क्या होते हैं, गुडनेस क्या होता है, पैशन क्या होता है, इग्नोरेंस क्या होता है, इसके बारे में भी श्री प्रभुपाद बता रहे हैं पूरे इंट्रोडक्शन में। अभी आगे जाके जो है प्रभुपाद एक बहुत अच्छा एग्जाम्पल बताने वाले हैं। बेसिकली सब ईश्वर जीव काल प्रकृति कर्म। आई रिक्वेस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू प्लीज go through this because I'm really running fast. Because in this one lecture only, we have to complete entire introduction. Otherwise, introduction will take around 2-3 lectures only. So very big, very big introduction. Huh? So now I'm just going to come to one particular section. Now, somebody may say, Srila Prabhupada now is saying that we have two kinds of dharma. One is Swadharma and one is called as Sanatan Dharma. So now all of us should work in such a manner that we come to the Sanatan Dharma. Currently, Jiva is conditioned, but Jiva is supposed to follow Sanatan Dharma, that is eternal occupation. Currently, we are temporarily busy with so many activities. We have to go to job, we have to eat, we have to sleep, we have to do this, we have to pending loans, and so many things which we have to do. But he said, this is not the real duty of soul. This is not the real duty of Atma. He said, we are all Sanatan. Now, somebody may then question, how if somebody is Sanatan Dharma, how to follow? We are so busy with our materialistic lifestyle every day that how to do this Sanatan Dharma? Then Srila Prabhupada is going to explain some very nice analogy. He is going to tell an example, very hi-fi example is going to give, which generally very difficult to understand. Srila Prabhupada is going to say example of a paramour, like Rupa Goswami's example, that a lover, if a girl has a lover other than husband, then she does her duty in a very cautious manner, and she doesn't even give a hint to husband that I have another lover apart from you. So, and she's always absorbed in the thoughts of a paramour. So Srila Prabhupada is giving example, Rupa Goswami is giving example. This is how we should be attracted to Krishna. So this is an art to be learned. This is an art. Like sometimes devotees complain, Prabhu, our entire day is so busy with materialistic activities. How can we remember? But you see, a lover, a paramour can learn this art of loving. So similarly, if a devotee also learns this art of loving Krishna, this is an art to be learned. That even so-called materialistic activities which we are doing, but we have to remember Lord in the background. Our entire consciousness is absorbed by the Lord. And if we do this manner, this is the intensity to be attained in Krishna consciousness. That we don't think anything other than Krishna. So here that description will come in this end of this Gita. And at last, Srila Prabhupada is telling that, Prabhu, this art is very difficult. This is too difficult to do, Baba. It's very complex. And Srila Prabhupada is going to say, in present world, people are endeavoring so much to go to the higher planetary systems. People are working so hard to go to moon. So much hard work and कितना खतरनाक एंडेवर लगाया जा रहा है ना. साइंटिस्ट लोग पढ़ रहे हैं, पीएचडी लोग बैठे हैं, हजारों लोग बैठे हैं, कितना खर्च किया जा रहा है, एंडेवर किया जा रहा है. तो बोले अगर आप लोग इतना एंडेवर कर सकते हो किसी मटेरियलिस्टिक चीज के लिए, तो बोले थोड़ा सा एंडेवर करो स्पिरिचुअल चीजों के लिए. तो तो आप अपने आप को इजीली दूसरे प्लैनेट में भी ट्रांसफर कर सकते हो. दैट इज यू कैन ट्रांसफर योर सेल्फ टू स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड. सो प्रभुपाद जो है हिंट दे रहे हैं कि हाउ वन कैन अटेन स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड इन दिस लाइफ. सो ही स्पीक्स वन वर्स फ्रॉम भगवद गीता. निर्माण मोह जित संग दोषा आध्यात्म नित्या विनिवृत्त काम द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्त सुख दुःख संज्ञैर् गच्छन्ति अमूढ़ा पदम अव्ययम तत्. तो बोलते हैं पदम अव्ययम. ऑल ऑफ अस हैव टू अटेन पदम अव्ययम, दैट इज इटर्नल किंगडम. And this is only possible when we give up nirmana. We have to give up material designations. In this world, we all are after designations. Everyone wants to become some manager or module lead or leader or project leader or want to become a president or prime minister. So he said, as long as we are attached to these designations, we'll be attached to the body. So he said, one of the important steps is to become nirmana. Give up this material designation. And this is the first stage in spiritual realization that I am not this body, I am the pure spirit soul. And though this all things he mentions in at the last, and the concluding part, Prabhupada is giving that the goal of our life is to go to the spiritual sky. So we'll just quickly read one last section, and then we'll stop for then we'll be open last 10 minutes for question answer in case you have any. I'll just share. Someone can please read. How is this possible?
How is this possible? The Acharyas give the following example. If a married woman is attached to another man, or if a man has an attachment for a woman other than his wife, then the attachment is to be considered very strong. One with such an attachment is always thinking of the loved one. The wife who is thinking of her lover is always thinking of meeting him, even while she is carrying out her household chorus. In fact, she carries out her household work even more carefully so her husband will not suspect her attachment. Similarly, we should always remember the supreme lover, Shri Krishna, and at the same time perform our material duties very nicely. A strong sense of love is required here. If we have a strong sense of love for the Supreme Lord, then we can discharge our duty and at the same time remember Him. But we have to develop that sense of love. Arjuna, for instance, was always thinking of Krishna. He was the constant companion of Krishna, and at the same time, he was a warrior. Krishna did not advise him to give up fighting and go to the forest to meditate. When Lord Krishna delineates the yoga system to Arjuna, Arjuna says that the practice of the system is not possible for him. Arjuna Uvacha, Yo yam yogas tvaya. So, okay. Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. But the Lord says, of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me, is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. Bhagavad Gita 6.47. So one who thinks of the Supreme Lord always in is the greatest yogi, the supermost jnani, and the greatest devotee at the same time. The Lord further tells Arjuna that as a Kshatriya he cannot give up his fighting. But if Arjuna fights remembering Krishna, then he will be able to remember Krishna at the time of death. But one must be completely surrendered in the transcendental loving service of the Lord.
Yeah, so basically, he's telling a method how one can remember. This is what the sum and substance of spiritual life. That Ante Narayana Smriti. So we have to cultivate, we have to live our life in such a manner now that we'll be absorbed like this. And if we get this absorption, then one can transfer himself to the kingdom of God. So how to engage, how to get this absorption? So he said we have to render service. We have to engage our mind in service. If our mind is engaged in service, then senses will be automatically engaged in the service. And this is the art. So this is the art of secret of Bhagavad Gita, that total absorption of in the thought of Krishna. This is the secret of Bhagavad Gita. So like you see, like devotees, and especially many of you are coming from the voice. So how many of you have been doing some kind of preaching sometimes? Or you have rendered some seva of preaching and raise your hands. You have done some kind of follow-up preaching and all. I think almost in voice it is impossible to remain without preaching, because voice means preaching. So although you are doing internal services, you are doing preaching. The entire focus is on preaching, right? So if you see, sometimes it carries away our consciousness so much. Like night time also you think of the boys. The daytime also you think of the boys. अरे इसका ऐसा प्रॉब्लम चल रहा है, ये जापानी कर रहा है, अरे प्रोग्राम में आना बंद हो गया, आज प्रोग्राम में क्या बनाएंगे, फीस्ट में क्या बनाएंगे. I remember when I was in my working days, I was working with persistent systems, and that time I was preaching in Mayapur Voice PICT that time, and I was OC also, PC also, and I think almost in small voices you become everything. PC, OC, PM, TM, Jhadu Pocha in charge, dustbin in charge, all in charge, you are only the in charge. So small voices you get everything. So I remember when I was there in the company, when you used to go, more than the company phone calls, so many devotee phone calls used to come. आफ्टर एवरी हाफ एन आवर सम डिवोटीज टू कॉल, प्रभु ये हो गया, कुक भाग गया प्रभु, प्रभु फिर ये हो गया प्रभु जी, प्रभु इवनिंग प्रोग्राम था लेकिन कॉलेज ने कुछ प्रोग्राम रख दिया प्रभु जी, हरी बोल। इतना एंग्जाइटी रहता था सारा। कितने चैलेंजेस आते हैं। तो एक बार मुझे मेरा मैनेजर फोन करके बोला, तुझे फोन कॉल बहुत आते हैं, इतना क्या करते हो तुम, इतने फोन कॉल्स क्यों आते हैं तुमको। मेरे मैनेजर मेरे बाजू में बैठा था, बोले नहीं, बोले ऐसा कौन करता है, घर से आता है, कौन आता है, कहाँ से फोन आता है। बोला, नहीं हमारे बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स हैं। बोले अच्छा तुम और भी कोई जॉब करते हो क्या, इतने स्टूडेंट्स क्यों कॉल करते हो। बोला, नहीं नहीं डिवोटीज उनको। मैं देखा मॉर्निंग से लेके कंपनी पे काम चल रहा है, कंप्यूटर पे प्रोग्रामिंग चल रहा है, लेकिन मन अलग जगह पर है। मैं ऑब्जर्व कर पाया, मन पूरा वॉइस में रहता है, अरे इधर का क्या चल रहा है, उधर का क्या चल रहा है। सो मच एसएमएस पे, सब व्हाट्सएप पे, सब कुछ वही चलता है। So Krishna has given us so much amazing arrangements that he has given us engagements. And if these engagements would not have been there, then our mind would not have been absorbed in Krishna consciousness. So this is a greatness that सो प्रभुपाद कंक्लूड कर रहे हैं, अगर आप मून जाने के लिए इतना मेहनत कर सकते हो, तो बोले भगवत धाम जाने के लिए क्यों नहीं कर सकते हो। और बोले भगवत धाम जाने के लिए प्रोसीजर बहुत आसान है, आपको एंडेवर ज्यादा खर्च नहीं करना है, कुछ रॉकेट फ्यूल ये सब नहीं पढ़ना है, साइंस थर्मोडायनामिक्स कुछ पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है। आपको केवल श्रवणम कीर्तनम विष्णु स्मरणम पाद सेवनम, इन 9 प्रोसेस में से एक प्रोसेस को परफेक्ट करो अपने, कम से कम 9 के 9 को करो, यस एक को करो, बहुत आसान प्रोसेस है। So he said, okay, just someone can please read this one.
The mind is always flying to this and that, but one must practice, concentrate the mind on the form of Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna, or on the sound of his name. The mind is naturally restless, going hither and thither, but it can rest in the sound vibration of Krishna. One must thus meditate on Paramam Purusham, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the spiritual kingdom, the spiritual sky, and thus attain him. The ways and the mean of ultimate realization, ultimate attainment are stated in the Bhagavad Gita, and the doors of this knowledge are open for everyone. No one is barred out. All classes of men can approach Lord Krishna by thinking of him, for hearing and thinking of him is possible for everyone. The Lord further says, Mamhi Partha. Acha, to you.
Yeah, so
This is
basically saying that even a merchant, even a fallen woman, even a laborer, don't think that there is some kind of qualification required to become devotee. Anyone, even a most fallen person, can also attain the highest perfection. So Srila Prabhupada is telling this is the principle, this is the, and he can solve all the problems of life. So in conclusion, Bhagavad Gita is a, so this is a conclusion, that Bhagavad Gita is a transcendental literature. It should be read very carefully, and it can make, this is the literature which can make one free from all miseries and anxieties of this life and one's next life. So then Srila Prabhupada is going to speak from Gita Mahatmya. Gita Mahatmya is a version written by Shankaracharya, and it is a part of Padma Puran. So this is a very famous shlokas. Okay, one some different devotees can read this shlokas. Actually, if you can memorize, this is a very good. These are the Gita Mahatmya shlokas. गीता ध्यानशीलस्य प्राणायाम परस्य च नैव शन्ति हि पापानि पूर्वजन्म कृतानि च. Okay, someone can read.
If
If
one
one
reads
reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of his past misdeeds will not act upon him. The Lord says very loudly in the last portion of Bhagavad Gita 18.66.
Hari
Sarva
Bol.
Dharman
If somebody reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and very seriously, all his past misdeeds का जो भी पकाया हुआ उसका कर्म है, that will not act. This is also Gita Mahatmya. And again, a little more will come. This is also we use for preaching about Bhagavad Gita. Na? When we distribute Bhagavad Gita, we sometimes quote this shloka. Mala nirmochanam pumsam jalasnanam dine dine sakrut Gitaamritam snanam samsara malanashanam.
one may
One
cleanse
may
him,
cleanse daily by taking a bath in water. But if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad Gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished.
He said डेली डेली स्नान करना पड़ेगा आपको, तब जाके आप साफ होंगे। गंगा में भी आपको आ, गंगा में तो इस साइड, लेकिन गीता का क्या है, गीता गीता के गंगा वाटर में आपको स्नान करना है, तो गंगा में भी बहुत बार स्नान करना पड़ेगा। लेकिन अगर आप गीता के गंगा में स्नान करोगे तो पूरा मटर लाइफ का डर्ट ही निकल जाएगा। एंड गीता सुगीता कर्तव्य किम अन्य शास्त्र विस्तरे या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुख पद्माद् विनिश्रिता।
Because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Supreme Personality of Godhead, one need not read any other Vedic literature. One need only attentively and regularly hear and read Bhagavad Gita. In the present age, people are so absorbed in mundane activities that it is not possible for them to read all the Vedic literature. But this is not necessary. This one book, Bhagavad Gita will
suffice.
suffice it because it is the essence of all Vedic literatures, and especially because it is spoken by Supreme Personality of Godhead. Gita Mahatmya 4.
Yeah. So again, this Gita Mahatmya, all the glorification of Bhagavad Gita is going to come now, because Bhagavad Gita is spoken from the mouth of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Ganga comes from the lotus feet of the Lord. So there is no difference. Like, but in technically speaking, there is no difference between the lotus feet of the Lord and something coming from the mouth of the Lord. But generally, people like mouth of the Lord very much, ना? So we say ना mouth, हम generally मटल comparison में देखते हैं कि अरे फीट से कोई चीज निकली हुई चीज, और कोई मुंह से निकली हुई चीज, तो they said wow. So they said this is coming, गंगा is गीता, गीता का जो गंगा है भगवान के मुख से आया है, और जो गंगा का पानी है भगवान के चरण कमलों से आया है। तो he said सर्वो उपनिषद गावो Dogda Gopal Nandana. So I said Arjuna is like a essence of the Arjuna is like a calf who is drinking. So he said Eka Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam. So in this present world, people are wanting only one scripture, only one religion. बोले क्यों, हिंदू मुस्लिम क्रिश्चियन कुछ नहीं होना चाहिए, एक रिलीजन, एक स्क्रिप्चर, एक ऑक्यूपेशन। अगर वो ऐसा कोई आपको एक चीज लाना है तो वो है केवल भगवत गीता, और अगर एक मंत्र चाहिए तो वो है हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र। तो इस प्रकार से प्रभुपाद अपने इस इंट्रोडक्शन को कंप्लीट करते हैं, और आगे जाके प्रभुपाद पूरा डिसिप्लिक सक्सेशन देते हैं। तो अगली बार मैं आपको एक होमवर्क देने वाला हूँ, आपके लिए होमवर्क है, ठीक है। मैं ये 32 के 32 नाम किसको ऑलरेडी याद है बिना देखे? आप में से किसी को याद है 32 के 32 नाम? तो अगली बार मैं आपको पूछूंगा होमवर्क में 32 के 32 नाम नंबर वाइज पूछूंगा, हाँ? चौथे 10वें नंबर पे कौन था, 12वें नंबर पे कौन था। तो आज आपको ये होमवर्क है, कल अगली बार मतलब कल तक ही ना, कल के सेशन में आपको 32 नाम याद करके आना है। देखते हैं कौन याद रख पाएगा। आप चाहे आपको एक्रोनियम बनाना है एक्रोनियम बनाओ, आपको गाना बनाना है गाना बनाओ, या आपको जिस प्रकार से याद करना है निमोनिक्स यूज करना है निमोनिक्स यूज करो, या जो भी अच्छा है। आई थिंक नॉर्मल लॉजिक ज़्यादा आसान काम करता है, मतलब सीक्वेंस अच्छे से काम करेगा। सो दिस इज द परंपरा ऑफ आर। ये पहला तो बहुत आसान है, कृष्ण से ब्रह्मा, ब्रह्मा से नारद, नारद से व्यास, व्यास से मध्वा, यहाँ तक कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। मध्वा तक सारा इधर से प्रॉब्लम आता है कि मध्वा के बाद कौन, पद्मनाभ, फिर नरहरि, फिर माधवा, और ये माधवा और वो माधवा कौन, बाद में अक्षोभ्य, जय तीर्थ, ज्ञान सिंधु, दयानिधि, विद्यानिधि, राजेंद्र, जय धर्म, पुरुषोत्तम, ब्राह्मण्य, व्यास, लक्ष्मीपति, फिर आगे प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। बेसिकली माधवेंद्रपुरी के आगे प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, और माधवेंद्रपुरी के पहले प्रॉब्लम, उनके पहले प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। माधवेंद्रपुरी से आगे सबको आता है सब कुछ अच्छे से। तो सारा जो आपको 10 नाम ही याद करने हैं, बेसिकली आपको केवल 10 नाम याद करना है, उसके आगे फिर ऑलमोस्ट सबको सब कुछ आ जाएगा। तो पूरे 32 नाम, लेट्स सी कल तक कौन याद करता है। So I think we have successfully completed Gita's introduction, Gita's preface, and in short, we discussed about what all this introduction Prabhupada is writing. So okay, 5 minutes we have, Prabhu. Anyone has any question or you want to discuss something? Then I can discuss. Then we'll continue with the first chapter of Gita tomorrow. And the way we follow for every chapter, the method will be there are many methods of teaching. I'll tell you in short one acronym for every chapter. Some of you might have studied Gita in 18 days, that course and all. This acronym system I liked very much because entire chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you just remember by one acronym only. So the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita has a acronym called as doubt. DOUBT, doubt. केवल अगर आपको ये डाउट याद रह गया तो पूरा भगवद गीता का फर्स्ट चैप्टर याद रह जाएगा. ओके. सेकंड चैप्टर ऑफ भगवद गीता का नाम है गीता. उसका एक्रोनियम ही है गीता. केवल GITA याद रखो, पूरा सेकंड चैप्टर भगवद गीता याद रह जाएगा आपको. थर्ड चैप्टर ऑफ भगवद गीता का एक्रोनियम है ट्री. TR, 3 फॉर ट्री. 3 एंड ट्री. सो मतलब याद रखो, थर्ड चैप्टर भगवद गीता का नाम है ट्री. तो ऐसे सबका मैं एक एक बताऊंगा आपको, 6 चैप्टर्स का. उसके आगे का आप अगले वाले टीचर को पूछ लेना, मैं सबका बता दूंगा, बाद में आप देख लेना, मतलब 18 चैप्टर्स का. सो पहला चैप्टर का जो एक्रोनिम क्या है, डाउट. क्योंकि शुरुआती हुई है डाउट से, कौन जीतेगा मैच, तो उसका शुरुआती होता है डाउट से. तो DOUBT, इससे आप पूरा ऑलमोस्ट फर्स्ट चैप्टर याद रख पाओगे कल. सो लेट्स सी, एनीवन हैज एनी क्वेश्चन और डिस्कशन, यू कैन रेज योर हैंड्स और स्पीक. यस रोहित प्रभु.
Prabhuji, like in the analysis of Bhagavad Gita, we it is mentioned that we are talking about Ishvara, Prakriti, Kal, and Jiva. But actually, when we are discussing also about karma, so why only karma is mentioned and Gyan and other things are not mentioned explicitly?
Sorry, this is karma. This is not karma. This is karma. Karma. Jnana karma. What is right to what is right? Ishvara, Jiva, Kala, Prakriti, and karma.
Okay, so karma, it includes other also like
Ah,
Gyan and okay, understood.
okay, Mayapur voice is whose Mayapur voice? Okay, by the way, Tejas Prabhu, one thing. Where is Tejas Prabhu? Okay. How is attendance being taken? You take manually or automatic?
Manually, I'm taking currently.
Okay. Just you can check with the organizing team, because in the last Bhakti Shastri course, na, the attendance used to be taken automatically through that Zoom attendance system, and the attendance used to be marked based on the logins. So in the last class when I was there, they asked that everyone should have an individual screen. Although I appreciate common screen much more than individual, because it's good that all devotees come together. So even if all devotees come together, but still mobile should be individually logged in, because I think attendance is taken individually. Because what happens in the group, one devotee goes to take bath, and suppose some devotee from Mayapur wise goes to take bath, and all other attending, nobody comes to know, अरे बोल प्रभु वेंट चले गए कंपनी में, किसी को पता भी नहीं चला, बाकी तो. But when individual is there, we come to know na attendance. So generally individual is required. You can attend together, but at least log in your phone and keep it somewhere. Attend together, that is very good. So I'm not sure, because attendance is taken automatically, then there is difficulty. If individually you take, then how you come to know who is attending, who is not? Because सबका चेहरा दिखना चाहिए स्क्रीन के अंदर, right ना?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yes, Prabhu. Sorry, Mayapur voice has question.
Prabhuji, I'm audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Prabhuji, in the introduction, Prabhupada has gave the example of farmer. So, when farmer is very much attached to her lover, she do the home chores much more carefully and with great concentration. So, in the same way, Prabhuji, after being attached to Krishna, we can do our work. But the question is, if we are not that much attached to Krishna with great love, so at that time, how to do our swadharma with that level of concentration or with that level of intensity when the attachment is not developed to that degree? What should be the motivation?
Actually, currently, especially those who are sadhaka stage, they have difficulty maybe little bit. But generally, we are as of now हमारा उल्टा चल रहा है. बिल्कुल अटैचमेंट आया ही नहीं है कृष्ण के प्रति. जैसे ही मटेरियलिस्टिक चीजों के प्रति फुल अट्रैक्शन है अभी भी. तो जनरली हम मटेरियल चीजों को तो बहुत अच्छे से कर ही लेते हैं. स्पेशली जब साधक स्टेज में आता है आदमी, तो संघर्ष होता है. साधक का स्टेज ही एक थोड़ा संघर्ष वाला स्टेज है, क्योंकि उसको हमेशा बैलेंस 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 चाहिए. सब में बैलेंस चाहिए उसको. लेकिन इन जनरल 90% अट्रैक्शन हमारा अभी तक मटेरियलिस्टिक चीजों में ही है. तो जब साधक के स्टेज में जो होता है ना, साधक के स्टेज में कोई भी एक्टिविटी प्रॉपर कब होगा, जब वो एक कर्तव्य के रूप में किया जाएगा. तो हमें अभी लव तो नहीं है, लेकिन हमें ड्यूटी के प्लेटफॉर्म पे करना होगा. तो ड्यूटी के प्लेटफॉर्म में, ओके, आई वांट टू बिकम अ वेरी गुड एकेडमिक टॉपर स्टूडेंट. व्हाई? बिकॉज माय गुरु विल बिकम हैप्पी बाय दैट, और माय पेरेंट्स विल बिकम हैप्पी बाय दैट. सो जनरली आप देखो, किसी भी व्यक्ति को मटेरियल, इवन स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ छोड़ दो आप, किसको अच्छा लगता है कॉलेज में आना पढ़ना? किसको अच्छा लगता है? आप किसी बाहर के आदमी को भी पूछो, अच्छा लगता है क्या बाहर जाके पढ़ना लिखना? किसको अच्छा लगता है जॉब करना? और शुरुआत के दिनों में एक नया नया क्रेज रहता है आईटी आईटी कंपनी में जाके जॉब करना। कुछ दिनों के बाद आप देखो क्या फ्रस्ट्रेटिंग लगता है वो। सब वेट करते हैं सैटरडे संडे कब आएगा, सैटरडे संडे कब आएगा। तो वो भी जीवन भर काम करता है। वो क्यों काम करता है? अब उसने वो समझ गया है, वो ड्यूटी का प्लेटफॉर्म पे आ गया है। ठीक है, ड्यूटी का प्लेटफॉर्म है, करना पड़ेगा, पापी पेट का सवाल है। और माता पिता का ख्याल रखना है। तो दिस इज द वे वन परफॉर्म्स nicely. Even so nicely they perform. Otherwise, who loves materialistic activities? Similarly, in the sadhak stage, all activities which we do, they are done as a matter of duty. Because till the time love has not come, let's do it as a matter of duty. So nicely. So duty is a very wide and duty, and one can perform on the platform of duty only in one mode. That is in mode of goodness. मोड ऑफ गुडनेस है तभी ड्यूटी का प्लेटफॉर्म थोड़ा बहुत काम कर पाएगा। पैशन और इग्नोरेंस में सेल्फिशनेस आता है। क्या मिलेगा मुझे, ये काम क्यों करूं मैं, क्या फायदा होगा मेरा। तो ये सारा विचार जब आता है तो वो पैशन और इग्नोरेंस में है वो। लेकिन ड्यूटी में क्या होता है, नहीं, आई एम टोल्ड टू डू दिस, लेट मी डू दिस नाइसली बिकॉज माई superior will become very happy. So that is the duty platform, and that comes in mode of goodness.
Thank you, Bhai. Hare Krishna, Bhai.
Yes, Ravi bro.
Like in the introduction, Prabhupada is saying that the one method to approach Bhagavad Gita is like one should be a devotee of Lord. But like sometimes we like I have a question that how can somebody be a devotee of a Lord before reading Bhagavad Gita? Like it's the conclusion of after reading Bhagavad Gita one can be devotee. But if somebody has to read Bhagavad Gita, then he has to be devotee of Lord. How it can be possible?
So what is meaning of being like I say I am devoted to someone. So he said, now when you are beginning, when you are trying to read Bhagavad Gita in the beginning days, somebody may not appreciate this. But now actually this Bhagavad Gita is Bhagavad Gita is a secret science which is supposed to be understood only by devotee only. Only to be able to only if one can really understand Gita in its right context only after becoming a devotee. So if you see in 18.67, 18.66, what is the shloka which is being mentioned? 66 we know, 67, 68 if you see, that the supreme secret of Bhagavad Gita should be explained only to the devotees of the Lord. And he said, one should not try to preach Bhagavad Gita to non-devotees of the Lord. Right now? It is mentioned clearly in the purport. One should not speak Bhagavad Gita to the non-devotees of the Lord. Prabhupada mentions there. But somebody may say, Arey, but then we are distributing Bhagavad Gita so widely. None of them are devotees. They are even breaking four negative principles also. How can they will understand Bhagavad Gita? He said, but what can we do? We have to take a risk. Because we love Krishna, we have to take a risk. Prabhupada said, because devotees of Lord are more merciful than Lord. Although Krishna says not to give Gita to anyone apart from devotee, still devotees try to give this knowledge because they are very merciful. They hope that this person will become devotee one day. Like हम फर्स्ट ईयर का कॉलेज में प्रीचिंग करते हैं, कभी बच्चा, हमको पता है बच्चा आइडियली वॉइस में कौन शिफ्ट होना चाहिए? जो अच्छा व्यक्ति है, जो 16 माला करता है, जो मॉर्निंग प्रोग्राम करता है, जो 4 नियम पालन करता है, उसको शिफ्ट करना चाहिए। लेकिन हम कभी कभी थोड़ा सा रिस्क लेते हैं, है ना, रिस्क लेते हैं। अरे बन जाएगा प्रभु, चलो भाई हो जाएगा, 16 माला पे आ जाएगा प्रभु जी, कर लेगा वो, मतलब धोती कुर्ता पहना सीख गया है, बस हो जाएगा काम, एडजस्ट हो जाएगा। कभी कभी हम रिस्क लेते हैं। क्यों? क्योंकि डिवोटी जो है बहुत मर्सीफुल होता है, वो रिस्क लेता है। तो आइडियली भगवता समझना है तो ये क्वालिफिकेशन मस्ट है, दैट वन इज सपोज टू बी डिवोटी। बट इनिशियली सो तो क्या कहते हैं, भगवान का जो डिवोटी है, भक्त है, वो बहुत रिस्क लेता है और अज्यूम करता है पोटेंशियल, वो क्या डाउट देता है, पोटेंशियली एवरीवन इज प्योर डिवोटी ऑफ लॉर्ड। पोटेंशियली सभी लोग प्योर डिवोटी है भगवान के, और अभी नहीं तो आगे जाके बन ही जाएगा डिवोटी, पढ़ेगा तो इसलिए हमें नॉलेज देते हैं। बट या जब तक अगर हम डिवोटी नहीं बने, तो हम अगर 50 साल भी बीत गए तो हम लोग इतना नहीं समझ पाएंगे। तो दैट इज व्हाट, so this is instructions for us that become a devotee. Hare Krishna. So thank you very much. We are already above the time, 8:10. So we'll stop here. Vancha kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhe vatsa patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti vaishnavindagi jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So we'll also do one thing from henceforth. We can decide like three to four devotees who will be reading for tomorrow. so that everyone gets a chance. Otherwise, so many devotees are there, they'll not get the chance if I just take randomly. So Tejas Prabhu can allocate for tomorrow that tomorrow around this 4 devotees will read. Means entire that whatever we are going to read. So among these 4 devotees or 3 devotees, we can decide that they'll be the main readers to tomorrow. Next session, someone else will be, so that everyone gets chance to read and sufficiently read Gita.
Yes, Prabhu.
And tomorrow also 7 o'clock. So homework is 32 names. Please remember today. 32 names. Hare Krishna. And Prabhu, we are going to continue with Thursday, Friday, or Wednesday, Thursday. That also, what is the final conclusion? You can write in chat box or take a Wednesday, Thursday is better or Thursday, Friday is better. So this among these 2 options. So how many of you feel Wednesday, Thursday is also okay for you? You can raise your hands. Not this hands, virtual hands. Virtual hands you can raise so that I don't have to see in the screen. Okay, 2 participants have raised hand, 3 has raised hand, 4. 8 have raised hand, 10, 12. So if count goes beyond 20, then Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, almost majority are okay, I think. And anyone has any special concern about company and all? You feel no, Thursday, Friday only it should be there? That okay, no Prabhu, Wednesday is little difficult, Thursday, Friday only. Anyone has any? You can unmute and speak that no Prabhu, Thursday, Friday only. Sorry, somebody speaking, but I think you are not unmute. Okay, fine. Let's go with this then Wednesday, Thursday, next week onwards. So that Friday you are a little more free. Haribol. So tomorrow we'll have, next week, Wednesday, Thursday. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai ho.
Thank you, bro. Hare Krishna.